I think I am still processing last night's game. I really don't know what to say or what this video is going to sound like. I have it prepped, but I'm still processing last night. I mean, seeing the game end like that and the way that game was going, the dramatics on both sides, and for it to end on an error from a guy that could have just thrown to first base, it's just absolutely brutal. It's by far one of the worst sports losses I've ever experienced in my life. It was honestly so bad that it had me not feeling like it was real. And I've only had that happen to me a couple times. I mean, the one that I always think about is, of course, the Game 7 shot for Kawhi Leonard when he sunk that on the Sixers. I will never forget, I literally laughed. I laughed because I didn't know how to cope with them losing in that fashion. And that's how it kind of felt last night. It kind of just was like, oh my God. Like, I just remember the ball hit him, and I'm going, okay, pick it up and throw to first. And then I see him look at JT. I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to JT. But you can see, pretty sure it was Kim running in. I was like, oh, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And then you see the ball go past JT. And then everything just hits. Everything processes, and it's just like, oh my God, the Phillies just lost because of this. They just lost because this guy, his brain broke. His brain broke. The pressure got to him. He can't say it didn't. It got to him. And it was just rough. Obviously, the Eagles were on as well, so it made it, I guess, a little easier to deal with because you went straight from the Phillies to the Eagles. But I just cannot believe that is how the game ended. But let's get into the recap. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, that was one of the best baseball games I've ever watched in my life. I mean, again, 11 innings, a pitcher's duel on both sides. It literally was one of those few games where every single pitch, not that it isn't like this already in the postseason, but every single pitch, you were just like, wow, is this going to get, is this going to be a home run? Is this going to be a big hit? Is this going to be a big strikeout? Every single pitch, that's what it felt like. And the guys just kept going on both sides, kept going. You saw the shadows start to creep in about the fourth or fifth inning, and you were like, oh boy, it's going to be a long one here. And it just, I don't know. It was one hell of a game, one of the best games I've ever seen. And again, I don't know if I'm supposed to feel sad, mad, proud of certain guys. Like, it's just a combination of a bunch of feelings. And again, it's just one of the weirdest games I've ever watched, but also one of the best, and it just sucks that my team was on the losing side of it. Before we get into, the negatives for this game, because again, this is coming from a Phillies fan perspective, I just want to give a couple shout-outs to some people. First, shout-out to Christopher Sanchez. This guy pitched his ass off this entire series. He did a great job. And again, last night, he wanted it. He wanted the moment, and he was dealing. He got screwed on that one call. I think it was in the 7th inning. It was either the 7th or the 6th. He could have gotten out of that jam, and he didn't. It is what it is. It's baseball. Hopefully we won't have to deal with that next year with the robot umps. But my God, Christopher Sanchez, if anyone's still doubting you, they just don't know baseball. He's one of the best pitchers in the MLB. I'm so glad he at least got his recognition on the biggest stage. That was phenomenal from him. Shout out to Matt Strahm as well for delivering. He did a great job in a high pressure situation where I don't know if I can honestly say that I was trusting him, but he got it done there. And then, of course, shout out to Jesus Luzardo. This guy, who just pitched, mind you, on Monday, comes in to give you, I think, 2 innings. I think he could have honestly gone longer, but Rob Thompson pulled him for, the inevitable with Kerkering. But still, shout out to Luzardo. He looked locked in. It was one of Rob's better moves last night. And yeah, Luzardo, I'm very, happy with him and his performance this year as a Philly. Yes, he had some bad spots here and there, but he really overall stepped up. And again, he showed me that he can be relied on in the playoffs. Him, Sanchez, even Aaron Nola did really good in his role this series. Ranger, pretty much every single starting pitcher for the Phillies in this series did a great job. And I just want to say thank you to all of them. I thought they did a great job, like I said. And then I guess, as much as he's pissed me off this year, thank you to Nick Castellanos. He actually did something and got a hit, and it was a meaningful hit. He actually came through, and he came through in Game 2. He surprisingly is one of the better players in the postseason. So I at least wanted to give credit to some of these guys because these are the guys that really stepped up last night and made this a game and kept the Phillies in it. And before we get into the negatives for the Phillies, I want to also give credit to Glasnow. He did a great job pitching. I thought the Phillies were going to get to him yesterday. Boy, was I wrong. He went and threw them a bunch of different pitches. And as well with the shadows combined, it was just going to be a long day. Obviously, a veteran performance out there. I did not expect that from him. And then again, Sasaki. This guy, I know he was brought in to be a starting pitcher. At least in the postseason, he'll realistically be the closer role. This guy, man, when he's out there, he just looks like he's unhittable. He looks like he is unhittable. He is going to give you 2 to 3 innings max if needed of just fantastic baseball. Fantastic baseball. So credit to Sasaki. I think the Dodgers have found something here to mask one of their biggest, if not their biggest weakness with their bullpen. And this guy's really helping them out, and he is just such a threat out there on the mound. Now we will get into the negatives, the juicy part of all of this. Yes, I am mad and disappointed in Orion Kerkering, but at the same time, I really don't think he should have even been put in that situation. That one, again, is, and I've been saying this, if you've been watching my videos, this one is on Rob. Rob just is a big, loyal guy. He really, really, really is a loyal guy, which is, again, good at times, but it's really just the fact that, like, you don't have to be loyal all the time. And being loyal in that situation, it costed him. Again, I have been screaming about this all week. Kerkering is one of the worst pitchers with people on base. I know the bullpen was thin at that point, but to go to him there in that spot, I don't think I could have trusted him there. And it's just like, man, I don't know. That decision, yes, again, you have to execute. The players have to execute, and he has to know that. It's a fundamental thing. But again, you also have to know that as the manager, you have to know if your guy can handle the big spot or not. Can he handle the big moment? And obviously he couldn't. He hasn't been able to handle those moments in a while. Now combine that with a ton of pressure. Your season's on the line. Bases are loaded. Yeah. So, in my opinion, yes, I am frustrated that Kerkering didn't get it done. But for me, it really is on Rob there. Out of all people to pitch in that situation, maybe you could have gone Tanner Banks. I know he didn't get a lot of work in the playoffs, which shocked me because he was good in the regular season. But I just don't know why we're putting the guy that's arguably the worst on the entire roster with people on base out there in that situation. I just don't get it, and I don't think I ever will. Next is why walk Ohtani. I know hindsight is 20/20, but this guy hasn't done anything at the plate the entire series. He has, I think, 1 hit out of every single plate appearance in the series. Why not challenge him? Why? And I don't know. I understand why they did it, I guess, but he's been so cold all series. You've been really getting at him when he's on the plate. He has not been able to do anything. And of course, you decide to walk him. And then this is where I get mad at Duran. Duran, I understand that's not really your situation that you're usually brought in. You're not usually brought in that early. But bro, on a 3-2 count, you cannot throw a high fastball out of the zone. You can't. I understand it's Mookie, but you got to throw in the zone. I don't know. I've always been a person that likes pitchers, especially bullpen guys, to throw in the zone. I know the swing and chase is part of the game, but in situations like that where you have to get it in the zone, you gotta, and it cost them. It cost them there, and that run gave the Dodgers life. And again, it didn't work out. It didn't work out, and I'm not gonna kill Duran because I thought he was overall pretty good last night, but you gotta keep it in the zone, man. You gotta keep it in the zone. And again, my major complaints, been saying it all series, and we're gonna say it again. The top 3 of the lineup, other than in Game 3, did not show up at all. The guys that you were relying on did not show up at all. And that's what makes this sting as much as it does. Not just because, again, this is potentially the end of the era for this team. Things are going to change. We don't know what's going to happen. But it's the fact that this team was in every single game with the Dodgers. And realistically, they probably would have won if a majority of those guys made some plays. And they could have just made some plays. They made none. Yes, Game 3 happened, but again, last night, Trey Turner, 0 for 5 at the plate. Kyle Schwarber, 1 for 5 at the plate. Bryce Harper, 0 for 4 at the plate. These guys just didn't make enough of an impact. And again, the rest of the lineup needs to be better too. When you score, let me think about this. Game 1, yeah, you score 3 runs and it's early, not enough. Game 2, you score 3 runs, but it's late. Still not enough because it wasn't consistent. Obviously, Game 3, definitely enough. But then Game 4, again, dude, you score 1 run, it's not enough. It's not going to get it done. And it's just so frustrating that these guys are the guys that we're supposed to rely on, and they don't get it done. And it makes me question, again, when is Trey going to have his moment? He's been here now 3 years. We haven't seen that moment from him yet. Bryce Harper, I still love you, man. I will forever hold on to that 22 home run to send us to the World Series. But are we seeing a decline? This guy hasn't showed up really the last 2 postseasons. Yes, he had the home run in the Mets series, but other than that, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything this series. I hope it's not a decline, but it's something we got to talk about. And of course, Schwarber, you did show up in Game 3, but again, other than that, you didn't do a single thing in this series. Just extremely disappointed in these guys. And again, if they just show up, even give us 50% of what they gave us, a little like 50% better, I think the Phillies either at least make this go 5 or they even win the series. It was that bad, and these guys just completely ghosted. And it's just so disappointing. Last I have to say is, what's the future for this team hold? Is Rob Thompson back as the manager? Is JT back? Do they re-sign Kyle Schwarber? Do they trade Nick Castellanos? Do they have the money to re-sign Ranger? These are the things that make you go like, wow. Like that was the end realistically of this era of Phillies baseball. And it just sucks. It sucks. I'll probably make a video discussing that. I'm not going to get too in depth of it, but at least just think about it. Like, that's probably it. That's probably it for this team. It's probably it for this core. And that's it. And it's so frustrating. Because again, in 22, you go to the World Series, you lose to a better team, but still you don't capitalize on the moment. 2023 is the one that will forever haunt me the most. You were the better team that year, and in my opinion, you were the better team. You were the best team in baseball. In my opinion, you would have beaten the Rangers, but you choked that opportunity away at home as well. Last year, you just get completely outclassed by the Mets. Embarrassing. And then this year, you just don't show up. Your bats don't show up. Your pitchers all do a great job. You just don't show up. And you go down 0-2 at home. It's just embarrassing. And this feels like the 2000s, like the early 2000s Eagles. That's what I feel like this is. Again, I was too young to experience that, but that's what this feels like, the modern day version of that. The team got there. They just didn't get it done, and they just weren't able to replicate that success. And again, this is an aging roster. This team isn't getting much younger. Yes, maybe they bring up Crawford next year and Miller and Painter. We'll see, but other than that, they're not getting much younger. So it's just frustrating. It's sad. I wonder, when will I see the Phillies win a World Series? I was 6 years old when they won a World Series. I remember it, but I was too young to really know what was going on. When am I going to be actually conscious and be able to experience a full Red October, a parade down Broad Street, the Phillies winning the World Series? Like, when am I going to see that? Another year I'll have to wait. I mean, I'm grateful for the run, but at the same time, the pain is what always is going to kill me. And now this team, at least this year, is forever going to be remembered now for the Kerkering era. And I know that's going to be the main story today, but at the same time, this series really was just the bats not getting hot again. And it's what I feel like has defined this era of Phillies baseball. They're a great team when they're clicking. But, man, when they can't hit and when they can't get home runs, this team does not win many games in big spots. And, again, it's just disappointing. That's all I had on this one. Just had to vent. I'm glad I had some time to at least think about it a little bit. But, man, I'm in a weird spot right now. Really thought that this was potentially the year. You guys can go back to my prediction video. I had Phils in 5. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but this team, they convinced me, and they got me again. But, hey, that's on me for believing. And, yeah, that's all I got. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you like my type of content, feel free to subscribe. I'll be continuing to break down the MLB and Phillies baseball. So definitely stay tuned because we still have, the Champions League Series and the World Series to recap, and then we're gonna have free agency, and we'll see what the Phillies do. So definitely stay if you're interested. Like I said, drop your thoughts down below in the comments on the game. I mean, one hell of a game. And if you're interested in any of my short-term content, that will be in my description. I have my TikTok. Go check that out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.